Shalom, peace, welcome. In this video, I wanted to speak about how to regulate emotions. So, I wanted to focus on one main point in this video as far as being able to regulate emotions, and that is, for those who know about supreme mathematics, you know about the one being knowledge, two being wisdom, and three being understanding. So the way that we regulate emotions is that we use knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And I'm going to go through each point to explain why. So, knowledge. Many times when we have an emotion and we're triggered by something, we don't try to source or find out the knowledge or the information that we need in order to process our emotions correctly. So, for example, you may be triggered by somebody doing something that you don't like. And instead of getting clarity on maybe why that person is doing what they're doing, you'll jump straight to like, well, I just don't like that. And you'll feel irritated or you'll feel just bothered by that person. So it's like you don't go through the process of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You don't stop at knowledge. Okay, let me try to figure out what's going on with this person. And then, like, let's say that you did seek the knowledge first, and you ask the person, like, why do you always do this thing? You may find out something that you didn't expect, and that may alter your whole perception to the point where you no longer get triggered by that thing anymore because you have the knowledge of it. So that's just an example of how to use knowledge. The wisdom is the emotions that you experience and that you feel. So a lot of times we skip knowledge and we jump straight to the wisdom of how we feel, the experience of it. But if we go to the knowledge first, like I mentioned, you get that understanding, then you're not going to feel that emotion that you once felt before. And then once you get that information or go through that experience, you'll gain understanding of the situation. Like, oh, I look at this situation completely different because now I understand why this person do what it is that they do. And I just want to give an example because a lot of times this happens maybe in work settings, or I'm going to use the example of a polygynous household or being under a covering where there are multiple women being covered and you have to work on different projects. Same if you're a part of a company, you have to work on different projects with different sisters. You can put yourself in the center of whichever experiences it is more relatable to you. But I'm just going to use the experience of being covered inside of a house where there's multiple women that you have to work with. And I can definitely say, and I'm speaking from experience because I've learned a lot being inside of my house, and there are a lot of emotions that are not being regulated properly. And I'm going to give an example. Let's say that you are working on a project with a sister, and let's say you have 2 or 3 sisters that execute very well. They get the project done, and maybe you have like 2 other sisters that's kind of slacking. You ask them, hey, what's going on? And they don't give straight, clear answers, but at the end of the day, they're not doing they're not upholding the end of the bargain of the project or the part that they're supposed to be working on. They're not executing. And let's say, instead of seeking clarity, a sister that is maybe slacking or not doing what she's supposed to do, she gets triggered by the sisters who are executing because maybe she views them as, oh, you're just doing that to get attention. You just want to get attention, from the head, and you just want brownie points. For example. So instead of her seeking out understanding and maybe understanding why that sister is executing on a project, she gets triggered, feels some type of way, feel bothered, and that's all she wrote. So that's an example of like not being able to regulate your emotions. And a lot of times when you don't regulate your emotions, that affects the entire project because then you have attitudes, and it just kind of makes it hard to complete something because you have to deal with someone who has an attitude about something. So in that situation, many times, well, what you want to do is you want to seek knowledge. Like I mentioned, you want to maybe get to a point where you get the wisdom and the understanding of it. So you want to ask that sister, like, understand like why she values executing the task, instead of assuming that maybe she wants brownie points. You may find out that she grew up in a family where she grew up in a household of hard workers, where when they execute a task, they get it done, and that was something that is a core value that she grew up inside of. and it has nothing to do with trying to get brownie points or anything like that. Or maybe it is connected to being able to achieve something inside of a household, and maybe there was like praise for people who executed and achieved things inside of a household, but you wouldn't know what the reason is if you just jump to feeling some type of way instead of gaining the knowledge and then the understanding of the situation. So this is just like a quick video of me sharing like how to regulate emotions, but I definitely want to go deeper because I want to share the difference between being reactive and emotional intelligence. And so I'm probably going to do a part 2. But yeah, willfully, this was helpful. Peace.